Come here, Oliver. Listen, you can't be in front of my face for the intro. Hello and welcome to the Plot Hole Podcast, where two writers from the video game industry pull back the curtain on narrative develop and analyze your favorite stories. My name's Alanna Carroll.
I'm Sydney King.
We're getting professional now. Yeah, professional. True. As always, our disclaimers. One, we are video game professionals, but we will not discuss our projects or the company. Our thoughts and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of our employees or Oliver's, my cat. We love stories. We're here to discuss them through a critical lens, but these are opinions. If you love a story and we rank it low, who cares? You connected with that story, and that's all that matters. And 3 spoilers ahead. We will be discussing all aspects of narrative, including the ending. Oliver's
very
if you don't want to hear the ending of it, we're definitely going to spoil that for you. But we're going to actually start out a little different today, where I'm going to read my good friend Sydney King some news, some top news from the narrative world. So, I started out with Goodreads, actually. They posted their most read books of 2025. We haven't done this is only our second podcast, so of course we haven't done
our second episode.
But, sorry, my cat is sitting. Oliver, please, sir. But eventually we will. But anyways, the fourth wing was like the top 3, and then the fourth was the Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping, which I know I've read the fourth wing and both of them. And the Reaping. I know you read Sunrise on the Reaping.
Yeah, but I have not read Fourth Wing, and I don't plan to.
Am looking forward to that movie.
Yes.
Because the trailer just came out. I should have added that to the news. But yeah, the trailer came out. We talked about it a little bit. And it looks really cool with, like, the retro vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the way they've given each... Because, I mean, the books/movies take place over decades. So giving them each distinct styles to make the audience feel the passage of time is really important. So I love the, like, 70s retro vibe that this one has.
Yeah, which it would make sense, too. Like, I didn't even really think about that. With, like, the culture is honestly changing in Panem? That's how you say it, right?
Yes, yeah.
But, like, that's, like, Susan Collins never really points that out in her books. But, like, it would make total sense. Like, I don't blame her for that or anything, because I wouldn't think of it, honestly, as an author. But,
the only other thing that it was reminding me of just watching the trailer was Avatar, with the way they expanded from The Last Airbender to Legend of Korra, and now how we're seeing the world change with the new one that's coming out. Like, that's the only other show I can think of, at least off the top of my head, that kind of leans into our established time periods. Like, Korra is very 1920s. I don't know. I thought it was really cool.
I know, this is way off the news topic, but, like, in terms of games, Fable did that. They were, like, they started off in medieval times, they went to, like, the industrial times. It was really interesting. So, anyways, looking forward to that movie.
Yes, which we will definitely talk about when it comes out, eventually.
Yes. My second headline I kind of pulled, and this is paired with the next headline intentionally, but Disney's Zootopia 2 animated sequel earns $556.4 million in its opening weekend. The biggest ever debut for an animated movie, 4th biggest opening of all time. I love Zootopia.
Was that worldwide? I mean,
I think that was worldwide.
I know Zootopia is very, very popular in Asia too, so that makes a lot of sense.
Shanghai.
I love Zootopia too, but it's huge over there.
Yeah, their Shanghai Disney park actually is Zootopia Land. That's fantastic. I watched a video of someone walking through theme park spoilers, but
well, that's what this episode's about. So
exactly. Yeah, I'm actually. I could go more into where I think that Disney should lean more into Zootopia in their theme parks, and they really haven't yet. And Oliver loves it too. But yeah, I love the first one. Have you seen the second one yet?
I have not. Nope.
But And also the reason I love this headline is because it just shows the power of animation with narrative, like how well animation can tell a story, and like how it can connect with like all audiences.
Yeah.
But, which is why I put this next headline. Live action Zelda, Legend of Zelda. We finally got some pictures after they leaked all those pictures.
Yes.
As you said, probably better as an animation. Actually, I had done that too.
I just wish that America would take animation more seriously.
Yeah.
The only good, like, these adult, I guess, animated movies coming out of Asia, Japan, Korea, and stuff, but, like, we just, over here, immediately see something animated and dismiss it as for children. But, like, we could tell stories so much better if we would just embrace animation. It's kind of changing a little bit. Like, Arcane has really led the charge with that, and the Cyberpunk show, and Blue Eye Samurai. Like, we're getting there, but yeah.
Yeah, and like things like Zootopia opening so big, and like, and I know like Mario, when I went to Epic Universe, most kids knew Mario from the movie, not from the game, which made me feel super old.
That's
but
crazy.
was such an interesting kind of evolution from like a video game, because most of the time it's viewed as like cursed to ever do a video game adaptation. I hope we get into that a little bit more, but yeah, so I'm interested to see what they do Zelda. It looks kind of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I hope they do like another timeline, but I don't know. We'll see where it goes. It was super funny. So me and my friend, you met Lindsay. She's my
Yes.
old childhood friend. Yeah. So we grew up playing video games together, and we grew up playing Legend of Zelda. We loved Ocarina of Time, if that sort of dates me. But and, like Wind Waker, and I remember us talking and being like, we'd love a Legend of Zelda movie. And her dad, who also played it, was like listening in when we were talking about this, and he was like, and what would they do? Go to a cave and kill a bat, and then like go to another room and then kill another bat, and then like find a key. And me and Lindsay
There'll
were like,
probably be some of that. And your point is,
it's just super. I just always think of that when I see the Zelda movie news.
yeah.
But anyways,
Well, I think that's partially maybe why at least the leaked images look very Breath of the Wild inspired, because I think Breath of the Wild's narrative is easier to adapt than a lot of other Zelda games.
for the last one, was it Tear of a Kingdom? I always get it wrong, but I actually like when you learn the twist in that game. I actually like got teary-eyed, and I don't get teary-eyed. I was like, shit, man. I didn't realize a Zelda game could like get me, but like that. The narrative in Zelda games are like really sorrowful and sad if you like really look past the lore, and like just poor Link. He never gets a break.
Poor Zelda. What are you talking
Poor
about? I
Zelda.
feel so
Yeah, they're
bad
both
for
like
Zelda.
in this time loop, and they just
Yeah.
never get to rest. And it's like this.
Well, and I
whole
hope for
thing.
that out of the adaptation too, is that we get some kind of hint at the cyclical reincarnation aspect
Yeah.
of it. That would be really cool, because that was interesting to me about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, is that they really leaned into that. So
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to see what they do. And so my next headline, Game of the Year nominees. I don't know if you've seen what was nominated. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Silent Hill F. I haven't played any of those games. I feel like a bad game writer. But,
I played Silent Hill F out of those. That's the only one I played.
I don't understand how Dispatch is not on this list. But
Did it come out too late? Like,
I
maybe
guess.
it's not in the window for consideration.
which they should definitely change that if that was the window.
My Game of the Year was not nominated. There was a lot of Game of the Year conversation around this when it was released, and controversy around that, because some people took great offense to other people saying that it was a Game of the Year contender. But
Yeah.
Blueprints
Okay.
was far and away the game that captivated me the most this year and took, like, I really dived into that game. I love games like Myst and The Seventh Guest and these puzzle mystery adventure games, and the Blueprints. It's not the Blueprints, sorry. Blueprints. Captured that in a way I haven't seen in a long time. So that was my game of the year. I was expecting to see a nomination for it, but I'm not surprised it didn't get one after, like, Claire Obscure came out and Ghost of Forte, and
if you come out at the beginning of the year, you're just kind of a little bit screwed over, and you come at the end of the year, you're big screwed over. So there's like this, it's weird. It's when the game of the year started, I'm sure you remember this, it was like kind of like a fun side thing. Like, you kind of checked in on it, but now it's like the Oscars for games, and like game studios treat it like their Super Bowl. It's wild.
Well, I used to watch the Oscars very, I don't think religiously is the right word, but I was very into, like, watching them every year and filling out my sheet and researching what I thought was going to win versus who I thought should win. This was back when I was in film school, so it was, like, really, a topic of conversation amongst my peers. But even back then, the Oscars just annoy me. I just hate this, like, this circle jerk of people patting each other on the back, and I hate that it's leaked into games now, and so I just don't take the Game Awards seriously. I mean, they're fun. I'm glad that people are getting recognition for their hard work, but overall, I don't put too much emphasis on them, personally.
I don't like that it sort of replaced E3 and, like, game shows. That bothers me, but
that's a good point. I didn't really think about that.
I didn't have this headline up here, but it feels like everyone's talking about it right now. Netflix. Sorry. Netflix buys WB, and Paramount's mad about it, wanting government to intervene, essentially. I hate these buyouts. I hate these big corporation buyouts. I feel like it just condenses these, like, companies. It makes less, I don't know, it just feels bad. It
is. Yeah. And these companies getting bigger and bigger and having more power and influence, and it's leading us truly to, like, the death of art as an industry. I think we're seeing it in games too, and that's why indie games are getting so popular now. But it's happening to entertainment in general. Like, the big companies that people have traditionally turned to for entertainment are getting too big and too corporatized to truly produce art that people relate to.
And it made me think of a lot about games too, because, like, WB has a pretty big game division. They have a lot of IPs. They have Lord of the Rings, DC, Harry Potter. Just all of this, like, now that Netflix controls that, and, like, Netflix is known for killing off, like, their whole model is they kill off in 2 seasons. Because it's just not profitable to make a third, even if it's popular. I don't know how, I think Stranger Things, like, the Duffer Brothers really pushed for that, and, like, I know a lot of creators, like, a lot of the shows I loved on Netflix, 2 seasons, gone.
Yeah.
And, like, it's kind of a thing where show creators now plan for that. And it's such a bummer to see that, and, like, I don't know.
I agree.
Anyways.
The world is a mess, and we're just 2 lowly little grunts doing the actual creative work. We don't have any power or sway over the executives that make those decisions.
Exactly. We just watch. And it also makes me wonder, WB is very prominent in Universal Parks. What's going to happen there? Which brings us to our topic. So the main part of our show today, we're discussing Epic Universe's Dark Universe and Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. My god. Hold on. Epic Universe's Dark Universe and Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. Frankenstein's over here. He's hanging out with me. I love this theme park. So this is going to become very clear very fast. I am a theme park fanatic I don't know why I love them. I still don't understand it. But
It's
I'm fascinated with the history.
the Tylenol our mothers took when they were pregnant with us.
100%.
Yep.
I don't understand why I watch a 4-hour video about animatronics without my defunct land, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch like a lot of theme park stuff, so I'm gonna change lingo almost halfway through this. But like, yeah, I also, this is my favorite, Epic Universe right now is my favorite theme park in the world. I live in Florida, so I'm around Disney, all of those, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens. But Epic Universe, when I went there, it holds a very special place in my heart, mostly because of the Dark Universe.
Well, and before we jump into Dark Universe specifically as well, I want to say that I am also a theme park like super fan, but not as much as Alanna. And one of the things that you and I first connected over was our love of theme parks. And we always talked about someday we were going to go to Halloween Horror Nights together, and we finally got to this last fall. Of course, we also went to Epic Universe as well, so we just really wanted to do an episode talking about our experience there together, and Alanna had been before, so she got to show me around and talk to me about all the behind the scenes of the park, and that's what we're gonna get into now.
Yep, I love all that stuff. Halloween Horror Nights, I took the behind the scenes tour, and it was super fun. But anyways, before we kind of dive into our test that we normally do, we're going to look behind the scenes, and we're going to meet the storytellers, and then we're going to get an overview of the story at the park, which is super fun. I loved researching this, so I'm very excited. And so our story starts with Carl Laemmle. He was born January 17th, 1876 in Germany. His family was of Jewish descent, which is like sounding like I'm going back very far for this, but I promise you it all ties in.
I believe you. I'm ready to be taken on a ride.
So, after his mother dies in 1883, Laemmle, along with his brother, immigrated to the U.S. He didn't know, he was more of a businessman. He didn't really know what he wanted to do. I think he was thinking about clothing, and he walked into a Nickelodeon, which is funny because Universal owns Nickelodeon. Sorry, I did a lot. This research revealed a lot to me. And he was going to he wanted to do movies, essentially. It sort of inspired him to do that. And so he started one of the first motion picture theaters in Chicago. He noticed sort of like a thing where movie theaters weren't getting reels. Like, they would get the same reel twice in one day, or they'd get a low quality reel and maybe a high quality the next day. There was really no one monitoring this. So he wanted to go into a film production and sort of help this out. So essentially he moved his business into film exchange services. That's where he ran into trouble with Thomas Edison, and I hate Thomas Edison, so I had to include this part.
I didn't know you had beef with Thomas Edison.
He just steals. He steals his inventions and pretends.
Yeah.
He would steal the patents and then put it off for himself. Anyways, so Thomas Edison had a movie company called Thomas Edison Motion Picture Patent Company. So he actually sued Carl Laemmle, like, I think it was around 200 and something times for infringing on a patent. Because essentially Thomas Edison, what he'd done with this company is create a monopoly. So Laemmle's company, they actually, they win. They win against Edison.
Good.
And, sorry. I put how they won, but it's like odd in my notes. But anyways, how they won was Laemmle went to the actors, and he said at the time, he was like, I will give you film name recognition. I'll put your name in the credits, which Thomas Edison was not offering at the time. So he actually got the actors all on his side. And so they were able to push in court and break up the Thomas Edison's film company monopoly. But, so this allowed other companies to come in and compete. Anyways. But, Laemmle's company merges with a few others. He becomes the president of Universal Film Manufacturing Company. The young company moves from New Jersey to San Fernando Valley in California, changing its name to Universal Studios. See, it's all coming together.
Yes.
Oh, I did put this in. Anyways, I do have good notes. Laemmle's victory against Edison had a cascading effect on the industry. Because he was crediting actors, something forbidden in Edison's company, he was advertising the stars. That he was earning them potential and name recognition. One of these stars that it has to kind of this doggone effect is Lon Chaney. Lon Chaney really campaigned. He wanted to be in the Hunchback of Notre Dame movie. He, for a long time, he was like really enamored with the story. He wanted to play the Hunchback. So he went to a lot of people and he pitched it. And at one point he was talking to Universal and it fell through. But then he met Irvin Thalberg, who was a producer at the time. Later on he becomes Carl Laemmle's like right-hand man. So together they pitch it to Laemmle, and this time what they pitch it as is a love story. So Laemmle approves. That's what he goes with. And they put Lon Chaney Larry Chaney in it, not Junior. The film was one of the most expensive silent films that Universal produced at the time. I love that fact. It was also a success. It captivated audiences and critics. But Laemmle isn't done there, because I would consider that movie the first Universal monster movie. And if you've been to the Dark Universe, and we'll talk about this later, they consider him the first Universal monster too. But Laemmle isn't done with monsters. After that, he meets Gaston Leroux on a trip to Paris. Laemmle and him strike up a conversation. They start talking about the Paris Opera House. And Leroux says, hey, I have a book about that. So Laemmle reads his book, and he loves it. It's The Phantom of the Opera. And so thus they produce another role for Lon Chaney. So they really found, again, another box office success. So they really found success with these sort of early careers. Early movies. And Laemmle wasn't totally sold at the time on horror. He still was a little bit anxious about it, but his son, Carl Laemmle Jr., really loved these like early silent film horror movies, and so he pushed his dad to make more of these. And so, especially when moving into sound, so that's where we get Frankenstein, and then from Frankenstein we get the Wolfman, Dracula, Invisible Man. It just spawns success after success, and so it ends up with this kind of universal thing. And I think that's what's kind of cool, is that Laemmle, being from Germany, sort of helps set the tone of these films, where it's like this dramatic influence and style that are found in these. And a lot of horror films still today follow this tone. And then, so Universal continues to build upon the popularity of these characters. They actually start producing crossover movies. So, like, I think it's like, there's one like Frankenstein meets Abbott and Costello, Wolfman versus Dracula, things like that. They're sort of the first
original multiverse.
Yeah, they're sort of the first multiverse. But even on top of with this going on, the public interest sort of begins to wane on the horror films and just gothic horror in general. So they kind of, Universal sort of moves on from making those films, and they sort of die off for a little while. And like, me and Sydney both love horror too, so like we understand that like cultural influences have like an effect. At the time the war kind of ended, it wasn't like in people's minds so much, and so people moved on to like, they find other things scarier. Like, I don't know, have you ever seen the movie, I think it's called Targets?
No.
I think it's 1980s. It's a 1980s horror film that actually, I think it stars, oh gosh, I should look this up. It's Lon Chaney Jr. or Boris Karloff, I can't remember which one. But it's actually about the guy who did the Texas shooting in the water tower. Mm. And so there's two stories going on. One's kind of like the death of old horror, and one is the rise of new horror in this film. I highly recommend it if that's something you're interested in. This film really does it well. But anyways, back to our story. Even though they sort of wane on making gothic horror films. The IPs kind of remain in the back of Universal Creative's mind. They're thinking about it. But so we move into modern era. They start to attempt to reboot with the movies, starting with the most popular monsters. They call this attempt the Dark Universe. This dream, however, doesn't make it past 2017's box office bomb, The Mummy starring Tom Cruise. I never saw it. Or The Wolfman. I know that was
I never saw the Tom Cruise Mummy either because I love the Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz one so much. Yeah. Like, why? Why bother?
Yeah, I wish they just kind of, like, I don't know, leaned into that one a little bit, but, yeah, and that's what the ride at Universal's based off of, is that one. And they were actually going to, this is another sidebar, I'm sorry. They were going to update that ride to be with Tom Cruise's Mummy, and it had failed so spectacularly, they just canceled that.
Good.
But, when this is all happening with the Dark Universe, this isn't the only thing that's on Universal's mind during this time frame. On August 1st, 2019, Universal NBC announces a new theme park, which are their already existing ones, or Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. Universal advertises it as putting the park back in theme park. Fast forward to 2024, and Universal releases details around their new theme park. Epic Universe promises to be a journey through 5 worlds: Celestial Park, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Island of Berk, and of course the one we're discussing today, the Dark Universe. Universal describes the Dark Universe as a legendary... Jesus Christ, I'm going to start that over. Universal describes the Dark Universe as a legendary Universal classic monsters come to life like never before. One of the 5 amazing worlds at Epic Universe. The narrative team that's responsible for bringing this land to life is led by show writer Chad Jones and his team at Universal. It was really hard to find that information, which was interesting. Show writers are not credited enough, I believe.
Yeah. That makes sense. Like, obviously that's not right. Yep. But it's kind of hard to, where do you credit those people? There's no, like, there's no credit scroll at the end of a stage production.
Exactly,
the way that there is for a video game or a TV show. So it's very easy for... Ride. Yeah, it's very easy. Yeah, that would be funny. But you just have the in-world character just saying, thanks to blah, 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 blah.
Like E.T. He just, like, rattles off the names of the show writers. Yeah.
Instead of the people that are writing, he's just lists the people that wrote the ride. Yeah. But, yeah, I think that makes sense. But it's not okay, but it makes...
Yeah.
Like, it's easier for executives to say, well, how are we supposed to credit them in a situation like that instead of being problem solvers?
Yep, exactly. And, like, yeah, and I know that there was probably more writers that worked on it. I couldn't find them. I really like to call out writers in these instances, because if you like the writing and find them really interesting, they probably have other stuff that they've worked on. So, like, you can look them up and see their other stuff. So that's why I like the name recognition. And Carl Limley would have liked that too.
Doing it for you, Carl.
He was a really cool guy. He actually he had the most women directors employed at one point during the silent film era. And his highest paid director was a woman. So we're probably, I'm going to make Sydney do a deep dive on him.
Gladly.
Or I guess the women directors. I want to look at what they've done. That'd be cool to do some silent films.
Yeah. It's been a while. I watched a ton of silent films back in film school, but, you know, it's been a while.
I think I did one during our, like, intro to horror film class. I can't remember which one it was, but probably one of these old monster movies. But anyways, let's dive into the story of when this park opens, this land opens. So, despite sharing its name with the failed Universal classic reboot, the characters that populate this park are plucked from their old films. The official synopsis for the land is: explore a village ravaged by the wrath of unearthly creatures and the monstrous experiments of Dr. Victoria Frankenstein. Dark Universe is a shadowy world where the unknown lurks around every corner. Victoria's is the great-great-granddaughter of Henry Frankenstein from the movies. In the books, he's named Victor, so it's a little confusing, but she's like the nod to his original name. I believe the new Guillermo del Toro movie, he's called Victor again. I can't.
Yes.
I watched like half of it. I don't really remember, but he is.
I pushed through it. I thought it was a little boring.
Yeah, you also, it was also like the halfway point, and you were like,
Yeah. I love Guillermo
cool.
del Toro. I was expecting more like Crimson Peak out of it, I guess. I think the
Yeah.
movie was just too long.
Yeah.
But that's
I
my
would
main
agree.
complaint with pretty much any movie or video game or whatever. I think they're too long.
But, anyways, Dr. Victoria Frankenstein is the main character in the world's biggest ride, referred to as an e-ticket. That comes from Disneyland's original opening. They had rides listed at what type of ticket you bought. E-ticket was the top one. That was the most impressive attractions. It's used shorthand in the theme park industry a lot of times, so I'll probably end up saying it. So I just wanted to tell what that term was. So anyways, referred to as an e-ticket, the Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. Why am I tripping up on that?
Because you're so excited. Your mouth can't keep up.
My brain is already like 3 words ahead of me is the problem.
Yeah.
The official synopsis for the ride is, in Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment, Dr. Victoria Frankenstein continues the work of her ancestor deep below the family estate. A demonstration of her experiments to control monsters goes awry when Dracula leads a revolt of enraged monsters, including the Wolfman, the Mummy, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and more. So, going into a little bit more of so this is the main ride. Normally in theme parks, that would sort of be where your story is in your ride. The land is supplement to that, I guess, in a lot of theme parks. I'm trying to think, Rise of the Resistance, I guess, would be like one that I would think of, where the main story of the rebels and their activities in this world of I think it's Batu is condensed into this ride. There are shops, there are like food things out there, but that story doesn't really leak into the world. It was originally promised by Disney that they were going to do like an RPG type system. They scrapped it. I think Universal took it though, and a version of it is showing up sort of in this park. So I'm going to start with when you walk through the gates, what the narrative is, because it's all around you. It's not just in the Frankenstein experiment ride. But, let's see. Yes, sorry, I got lost. Starting with the Dark Universe itself, when you step through the portal gates from the main park, you enter the town of Darkmoor. Darkmoor was established in 428 and is actually considered to be in our present-day timeline. The town itself, however, never advanced past medieval architecture. It's as if the evil that lurks there never allowed the town or its residents to progress as the other worlds have. But you can see signs of the advanced technology throughout the park. So you have Victoria's Castle, and there's these wires that go through, and the electricity will pulse. That's why they don't hide the lights in Harry Potter. They hide the lights, they hide the wires. It's hidden within the walls and stuff. They don't do that here because it's sort of like they're steampunk. They have advanced, but they're still sort of in this medieval-ish times. But it also seems like Darkmoor is located in Germany, which is an interesting tie to Carl Laemmle. There are a lot of signs and places that are in sort of Germanic language. This park has a lot of roaming characters. You can get stories from them. So a lot of this research comes from guests interacting with these characters and asking them questions. So there is actually a couple of violinists that roam the park. I've never seen them, but
I did. I saw one there. When I first walked in, there was a violinist finishing up on the balcony of that little hut across from Das Steakhouse. But
that's really cool. Yeah, I've seen videos of them. But so if you sit and listen to a violinist, they'll tell you about the undead monsters who reside in the caverns. They have an intro story for Dracula, and they'll tell you these monsters hide below the ground. The humans live in the light, but humans are not the ones in charge. So, early in Darkmoor, it appears that there was a war between monsters and humans. You can find depictions of the war paintings in Das Steakhouse, which I ran immediately and pointed out to Sydney and her family, because I know they were also very invested in this. But there's these big murals that show humans fighting with these creatures. But the war ends in a truce between the humans and the vampires. So, the truce is they leave each other alone, but the humans still have to serve the vampires. There's a well found in the middle of the village. So when you walk in, there's also a well. It's steaming. It's super cool. At night, it turns red. This is actually a symbol of the truce between the humans and the monsters. On the well is engraved the Latin words, "Never forget you exist by our will alone," which is a reference to the vampires letting the humans live. The fountain glows red at night with the blood of the victims that have been sacrificed for the vampires' blood. So the humans are feeding the vampires. And there's also, again, there's just narrative all over this park. There are more signs of the monster's presence in Darkmoor. Das Steakhouse is run by the vampire's familiars. The lights inside will turn red when a sacrifice has been made. The Invisible Man is often seen in the Lion's Head pub, a nod to his movie. You can find the mole people from that movie in cages. And the thing, I think I read... So there is this guide going around Tumblr, I believe, that was taken from... you told me about this, Sydney. Taken from somebody who said that a tour guide showed them it on one of the tours, and it's all the lore of Darkmoor. And I didn't include it here or kind of rely on it here because I didn't want to put wrong information. So I put what I know had been confirmed by Universal itself. But it's really interesting if you want to go look that up. I would be inclined to believe that's accurate lore because, again, I think they sort of took this RPG Sydney. Jesus Christ. I believe they took this RPG system that Disney was going to use for Galaxy's Edge, never used it, did this with Darkmoor as an experiment, not to be on the nose, but so I think this would be lore that all the actors would refer to, because I know that if you ask Igor, who's another roaming character, about some of this stuff, he'll actually answer with it. But really just why I love this park so much.
Yeah.
But in these yeah.
No, it would be interesting to see how that RPG stuff evolves over time, because I know there's already been some hesitancy with the guest interaction with the character actors there because people are entitled and don't treat them well. But just a little sidebar, this is also reminding me of Evermore in Utah, which was the big RPG park, which I went to a couple times. If people are more interested in that, they should watch the Jenny Nicholson 4-hour video. But yeah, there's a lot of complications that can come from an ambitious RPG park like that. So I understand why Disney kind of shied away from it, but I'm glad that Universal is trying to take up the mantle again, and I'm interested to see how it develops with their resources and their money, since Evermore couldn't get it done.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I feel like they're starting out very light. So, but I do feel like you can see the lore is consistent through the walk-around characters, which might not be for, Mickey and Minnie, I guess. If you, met them at Disney World and you're like, hey, Mickey, where's Minnie? You might be like, oh, she's in the house baking cookies. But if you ask Goofy the same question, he's going to be like, oh, Minnie's out shopping. It's a different... It's not a consistency to it. Even though if you do ask Igor how he survives the end of the ride, he will give you a different answer, every time. But...
That's part of the fun, though. That's a little joke to him, I guess. Yeah.
It's very Igor-ish, but anyways, we'll get more on him later. These days, we find the truce between monster and human is being threatened by Dr. Victoria Frankenstein. Inspired by her great-great-grandfather's Henry Frankenstein's experiment and determined to follow in his footsteps, she comes to Darkmoor and reclaims her family's manor. There's a bit of a timeline jump a bit of a timeline difference between the movies and what's happening in this world. In this world, Henry created his monster in Darkmoor and claimed the castle as Frankenstein Manor. The the events depicted in the movie are believed to have taken place here. I think in the original movie, they were in a German town somewhere. I can't remember the name of the town. But, I actually went through and watched all the monster movies before I went to the Dark Universe, so I'm a little sad I can't recall it. But, you can see the memory of the final scene of Frankenstein where the villagers burned down the windmill to kill the monster at Burning Blade Tavern. So you'll see the lights, if you can hear the music, sometimes the big long entry, you'll hear the villagers, and then the tavern lights up on fire. Super cool, it's periodically throughout the day. So there is some, you have to sort of fudge the timeline a bit in your brain to get those really cool moments.
Retcon it a little bit, but
exactly,
that's fair.
Not unlike games. Sometimes
yeah.
You have to do the cool thing. But although the Burning Blade Tavern is now used as a home base for the Hounds, which is another bit of lore in this universe, it's a group of monster hunters that are secretly operating in Darkmoor. They are actually more attached to the Wolfman coaster. So in the Wolfman coaster, you are becoming a werewolf. So they're supposed to be more part of that lore. And again, the Hounds, you can find them walking around the Burning Blade Tavern. They have really funny interactions. Like, I was drinking the Invisible Man's potion, and the guy was like, you're going to have to decapitate her. And they'll sort of treat you, this is why I go back to the RPG element. Because if they know you've been on Wolfman, they'll treat you differently rather than you say you're about to go on. Because they'll be like, oh, you need to be purified. Take the steps to protect you, versus like, oh, you're done for. It's a very interesting kind of branching how that happens. And we kind of see the branching also happening with the Invisible Man. He can be really mean to people, or he can be really nice to people, like me. He was nice to me because I wore a shirt with the Invisible Man on it.
Yeah, because you were one of his disciples.
Yeah, I was spreading propaganda from him. So, anyways, Victoria resumes where Henry left off and creates her own creature, one that resembles Henry's past Frankenstein. That guy. Important to note that Victoria Frankenstein's monster is not the same as Henry's monster in the movie. They're two different monsters. You see, there's a meet and greet with the monster, that's Victoria's monster. But you actually see Henry's original work in the queue. They have a replica of Frankenstein in the queue. It looks so cool. One of the coolest parts of the queue. Actually, the whole queue is amazing. But, yeah, and as I said before, her assistant, Eeyore, can also be spotted walking around Darkmoor collecting parts to help the good doctor, which is another really cool example of this ride and the story with Victoria bleeding into the world that when you're walking around, because he sets you up for the ride even before you step into it, really, because you see him. I've seen him almost every time I've gone so far. He's again, he can be I love the way they capture the tone in this park, which we'll go into detail later, so I'll wait on that one. But when we join, so imagine you're walking through the park. We talked about the restaurants, the well, the Burning Blade Tavern. We're coming to Victoria's mansion now. So when we enter her mansion, we find out that she's been conducting experiments to control Dracula and the rest of the monsters. She's harnessed enough energy through Frankenstein to achieve this control. Victoria is certain she is ready to her goal to capture Dracula and make all the monsters obey her commands. But she needs to share this accomplishment with the world. And restore Frankenstein's good name. That's where you come in. She invites you, the traveler, to witness her latest experiment. That doesn't work out so well. And the world's most dangerous monsters break out, leaving everyone to try and escape the catacombs alive. That brings us to the end of our behind the scenes.
Yeah. I love a good pre-show to a ride. The corny, like, we need you to stop Dracula from blah blah, or stop the dinosaurs from... I love that stuff. It's so cheesy, so over the top, but like, it gets you excited for a ride.
That's something I feel like Epic Universe did really good about going back to, was like, I feel like I've been on most of their rides, but most of them are like, we need your help. Like, Hiccup's like, you're gonna test out a thing, or like the Donkey Kong, which we got stuck on for like 4 hours, was like, we need your help to get the golden banana.
I don't want to hear golden banana ever again.
Like 40 times we watched that in that line. I haven't been on Ministry. I don't want to wait for 5 hours.
The only ride I didn't go on was Curse of the Werewolf, I think. So I've went on all of them.
And that one's like, you're turning into a werewolf.
Yeah.
But that one is also the weakest ride, in my opinion, in Epic Universe. Yeah. People say it's like, again, I didn't go on it, but like the theming is not as on par as like with Frankenstein, and like there's some nods to the original Wolfman. It kind of seemed like this had the mummy issue, where I think this really was going the way of, they were going to reference was it 2008 movie that came out, the Wolfman,
the reboot one.
Yeah,
wasn't that one in like 2019 or something too?
Yeah, there's been a few of them, but well, let me see.
Yeah,
when I have to research.
I mean, while you're looking that up, I can't speak to the theming of it because I didn't go on it, but the parts that you can see from Darkmoor is just like a little plain coaster track with like a net enclosing the whole thing. I just can't go on it because I can't do the spinning. So yeah. I don't know. I was fine missing.
You can sort of hear the growling of the werewolf, and 2010. Sorry, 2010 is when it came out. And it was Benicio del Toro. Did I say that right?
Benicio del Toro. I think that's how you say it.
Yay! Nailed it. Yeah, it was with him. He was the werewolf in it. But I think it's like a lot themed to that. I heard that like there's pieces from an American Werewolf in London in that queue. I think like the jacket. I haven't watched. I love werewolves, but I haven't watched a lot of.
You're
the
a werewolf girl.
movies.
I'm a vampire girl.
Yeah. I need to. It's a big thing, but yeah, I feel bad I haven't looked at that. But yeah, I feel like that's ride's a little bit weaker themed. But I think the hounds were supposed to play my feeling is the hounds were supposed to play a bigger part, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. But
yeah,
there's still.
I don't know the history of that either. I thought that ride was kind of like a last minute change from something that they were originally supposed to do. I don't know if you came across that in your research or that's not really something
they were going to put a show.
Oh right.
Yeah. It was going to be a show arena, and but it's by the same company that made Stardust Racers. So it's the same roller coaster company. So my guess is that they just didn't. They were falling behind on the show aspect, and they were like, "Can you just make us a coaster, whip it up really fast?" And that's what happened.
Because I think that's something that Darkmoor is missing right now as a show. Yeah, I would really like that. But and this video is about Monsters Unchained, so
it's kind of about both. I sort of rated it about both. But yeah, now we can move on to our narrative test. I was originally calling this class or trash, but I don't know if that's too mean, and now I feel bad saying it. But it sounds sketchy.
Well, I think it's a scale. You can be classy trash.
Classy trash. I like that. Classy trash test. So, each of us has ranked the story based on 5 categories: character, setting, genre, passion, rewatchability, and plot. We scored how well we think the narrative performs in these categories on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. We don't know each other's scores. We haven't talked about this. Ultimately, we're going to take our totals combined and divide that into 2 for a final score that will determine where the narrative falls on our trashy class scale. Anything above 15 is solid, above 20 is classic, and 25 is legendary. The test is always evolving, so I'd be interested. We need to do a couple bad stories just to make sure that this is not gonna end.
I've got a few in mind that I really want to watch coming up, so we'll talk about that.
All right, but
offline.
Yeah, let's get into this one. Characters. Are the characters memorable? Do they add to the ride? Do they have a clear character arc? For this, one of my sort of personal thoughts is like, can I name a character, or can I name one character just off the top of my head from this story? So for me, I rated this a 4 out of 5. The characters are iconic in this ride. I like how they're represented. Victoria Frankenstein is sort of a standout for me. And the movie, Henry Frankenstein he's unlikable. He's an asshole. He's always putting people below in this pursuit of scientific greatness. He's trying to achieve this immortality, but he doesn't care who gets hurt in the way. He's trying to be God. And when this movie was made and this book was written, that was seen as like a really horrible. Yeah, that was not what you did. You didn't challenge God in like death, and you respected nature, which is still like a really poignant theme in today's. But I like that Victoria follows in his footsteps quite literally in this scenario too. Victoria puts us in the same danger for her own sort of grandiose. She wants us to witness her experiment. She wants to she doesn't care about us as tourists. She just wants to see us. I mean, she does step in a couple times to like save us, like kind of fight off stuff. I think like Frankenstein does it more throughout the ride. Yeah. There's like the one instance where like the bride's jumping towards you and he like grabs, or it's the Wolfman. And he grabs him and is like, go. Yeah, she's doing this out of arrogance and egotistical approach, which is very Henry Frankenstein. She's grumpy and she's curt when she talks to the tourist. She's always like, get out, leave me to my work, I think is like her last line in the ride. And like Igor sort of has to stop in what she says all the time, where he's like, oh, leave a good review, which I love that line. But, and in the pre-show, she's very curt, and, Igor sort of has to, like, explain the ride to us, because he's, like, he's this, it's sort of weird to think of him as the more charismatic one. Yes. Which is very interesting. He's more of the people person than she is. She's good with the dead people, and he's better with the living. Also, the park as a whole, which I was gonna get into before, and I'm gonna revisit this, but like, I love that these monster movies are dark and they're kind of cynical and they have a dark humor to them, and I love that the park allows these characters to also explore that. Like, the Invisible Man can be just a jackass to you. He can roast you, he can get mad that you don't know his name.
What do you want?
I'm looking, but I don't see anybody.
Idiot.
He's really true to his movie persona. So, like, if you ever watch that movie, he's insane. He goes insane from, like, his potion. And, Igor is a weird little dude, and he'll also roast the guest.
Tell your mom I say hello!
He's become a fan favorite because of, like, these interactions. Yeah, he's, like, sarcastic. He'll like... I think we saw him, I don't know if you were there with me, Sydney, but, like, there was, like, a big guy, and he was, like, calling him a monster, and he was like, you're a monster there. But, like, he'll also just kind of, like, rip the guest. Yeah, I just love how much they push that boundary, because, like, Disney would never.
Yeah, I think it's really a testament to the actors that they have there and how much credit they need to be given. Like, Igor is very quick-witted and funny with it.
Yep.
I mean, across the whole park, like, meeting all the characters in Burke and stuff, too. Like, they all did a great job. And this time of year, on TikTok, the Grinch actor goes, like, viral, also in Universal. And, like, I just really love that Universal is leaning into their characters and letting them be jerks. Because, I mean, there are Disney characters that aren't exactly nice, but they're gonna be nice when they're in the parks and they're in costume. So yeah, I appreciate that Universal is authentic that way.
Yeah, I think the closest that they get to in, like, Disney is Star Wars Land. Again, I feel like Disney really... This was, like, a lot of Universal's, like, answer to that promise that Disney had. Because I know the Stormtroopers can roam, and they can kind of, be... They don't insult... I don't feel like they insult directly to the... But, I mean, someone can... If I'm wrong about that, someone can shout out that TikTok or video, whatever, points it out. But, like... I feel like they don't really directly insult the guest.
Yeah.
But they are kind of like, a little more crude, I guess. I don't know.
Well,
That's
it's
the word.
more on rails with the Stormtroopers and Kylo Ren, too, because they have pre-recorded lines that they're selecting from in their...
Yeah.
With finger tricks or whatever, however it is that they trigger those.
This
so
is why
there's just
you
not
watch the
enough
thumbnail.
room for them to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah. You learn all the tricks. But yeah, that is a really good point. Like, they really trust their actors in Universal because they don't have those pre-recorded lines.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that maybe they have a script somewhere, and the script is, like, again, I feel like it's that RPG element where they have elements that they are, like, referring back to in their mind as they're playing this character, but it's not on a script.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. But, what was your score for it?
I also gave it a 4. I think, like you said, these are iconic characters, and I think they did a good job of not modernizing, I guess, but like making them fit in this reimagined version of the stories and in this multiverse kind of crossover event. The other note I wrote down was that I like that they made Victoria as a woman descendant rather than giving us another dude. And yeah, I appreciate that they let her be ruled by her ego and very in line with her grandfather or great-grandfather, whatever it was, with Victor/Henry. So yeah, I think they did a good job of bringing these larger-than-life characters that we already know and love and are so ingrained in pop culture into a new world that is, like, introducing new people to it.
Yeah. I think, because the first time I went on this, thank God I was, like, it was me, my sister, and my friend Lindsay, and, thank God that we had our own ride vehicle, because I think I just screeched out each monster's name as I saw it. I didn't stop screaming. And, like, I love that they had the Hunchback first, because he was the first movie. Then they had the Phantom second movie. I don't remember the rest of the order. I think it's Frankenstein next. Or, I think it's Igor and he, like, takes control. I can't remember. But, that's, like, but I love that they did, like, the order there. And the pre, sort of, as you're, like, ramping up. I was just really happy because I loved... It blew my mind the first time I went on this ride. Like, I had heard things about it. Okay, so I'm a really weird person in that I love theme parks, love the art behind it, love the narrative, love the work that goes in it. I'm scared of rides. I'm scared of drops.
And that's why you go with me, because I make you go on some of them.
That's very true. I went on Hiccups and Donkey Kong, just the first two. They're not big roller coasters, but they were pretty... That was a big step for me. But...
And you did wonderfully.
Thank you. But normally, before I go to a theme park, I will watch the POV to see if I can, like, handle it, if it's gonna be... I don't know what I think's gonna happen. Like, I think I'm gonna pass out. I don't know. Or I'll start crying uncontrollably. I've had a few rides where I've just, like, when I was little, I, like, freaked out on. And I think that's, like, just... I just get scared.
I mean, I did that, too. The first time I went on Tower of Terror as, like, a 9-year-old kid or something, I was freaking out, but... I mean, eventually I accepted it.
You face your demons, which I'm starting to. But normally I watch a POV to make sure, like, research the ride. This one I started to watch a POV of it, and I stopped, which is, like, that says so much how I was excited for this ride, because I was just willing to risk me freaking out, because I saw, like, the Hunchback and the Phantom, and I was like, I'm gonna love this. I know no matter what happens. And I was familiar with the Kukula arm system from Forbidden Journey. And I don't think that ride has aged well, but at the time I loved that ride. So, yeah, I was so excited when I saw, like, so when I was, like, naming all the characters, because I was like, they got them all here, and that just, like, blew me away.
Yeah, down to, like, all the brides and everything. Like,
Yep.
Everybody's there. It's like Avengers Assemble the ride.
Mm-hmm. It's the best... Yeah, it's the best Dark Universe they could have, like, hoped for. Yeah. I want to see that movie.
Both huge animatronic fans, too. We
Yes.
mentioned the new Defunct Land video, which was very exciting for both of us. But like this ride in particular, knowing that the main attraction for it, for us at least, was these incredible animatronics. Like, it was gonna be the highlight of the whole epic experience, regardless.
Yeah, the way they move at you and like the Phantom is like so fluid, and Frankenstein in the beginning is incredible, and like I love the Wolfman. Sometimes they break down, it makes you a little sad, but
I never got to see the Mummy working. That's okay
so
though.
cool.
Someday in the future. I mean, I went on the ride 3 times, I think, and the Mummy wasn't working any of those times, but I mean, I think he was the only one that wasn't working.
Yeah.
So.
Which is great, because the first, like, I rode this, like, 3 or 4 times the first time I ever came to this park, and, it was the final Dracula wasn't working for me, and I finally got to see it when I rode with you, and I was so excited.
That was your first time seeing him? Yeah, he's
Yes.
really cool there with the big, like,
Yep.
portal behind him. That's the part you're talking about, right? Yeah, he's
No,
huge.
the
He's
end
like,
where he, like, swoops down.
oh,
Like, he
yeah.
was just T-posed for me, and it was super fun. I was like, I think he's supposed to move?
No,
but-
he's just supposed to T-pose there. Menacingly. It's like that SpongeBob meme. He's just standing there. Menacingly.
I was like, I hope we're not gonna get Disco Dracula. The reference to Disco Kitty at Disney. Again, we're theme park nerds. So setting.
Yeah.
I actually gave this a 3 out of 5. It hurt me to give anything low on this ride, but there are some glaring plot holes. Name of the podcast. The timeline's a little confusing. You also move through the queue super fast. It's like the one time where I kind of wish that you didn't. But it's like efficient. It rides like a people eater, which means it just like people can get on it super fast and quick and exit really fast. But you miss a lot of the world building that way, because for the most, like, every time I've been on it, for the most part, I've just walked through. Like, I really haven't stopped in any of the rooms. But I would love to see, like, more about, like, how, because they have those videos of, like, Victoria capturing the monsters. I really want to watch those, but I feel like a jerk standing in the middle of, like, that room, just watching those videos. And there's, like, newspaper clippings and stuff that are in the fireplace, and you kind of move too fast to, like, see those. I really wish there was, like, I don't know what the solution is to that, because it's just a good ride at what it does.
Yeah.
But
I would prefer it being efficient and not getting stuck
yeah.
in front
Yeah,
of
I don't
Grandpa
wanna be
Donkey
there for-
Kong talking about the golden banana for 3 hours.
Or the Ministry of Magic, you're just there forever listening to the house elf.
Yeah, but you're right, because that queue is the most impressive. I mean, Ministry of Magic queue looks cool too, of course, but that's all established lore, established world, established sets from the movies for the most part. I guess some of the behind the scenes of the Ministry offices are new, but they had something to reference where, like, this Victoria's mansion is a new creation, and so you really want to take the time to look at all the details and the considerations that somebody put a lot of time and effort into that. A lot of people, from writers to artists to manufacturers, everything, and you don't really get to see it.
It's a weird problem to have, but it's good for them. Like, I don't know, give us the movie. But, like, the Monsters Unchained movie now. I'd love to see more of the Hounds and how they sort of fit into all of this. They're sort of on their own. That's just a world building note in general. Because they're shaking things up too. Like, what are they up to? Why do they have any connection with Victoria? That would be cool to see if they did. Again, this is like, I feel like this is, I want the novelization. On the ride itself, a little bit of design. I went into a little bit of ride design here. Sometimes the set dressing is lacking. You can see the ride mechanical parts pretty easily. It takes you out of it a little bit. I love it, and I know you love it too, because we get to see the ride moving around and how it works. But I know it breaks the immersion for some people.
Yeah, maybe if I rode it a bunch more times, I would start to notice that stuff, but, like, having only been on it 3 times. There's so much big, in-your-face, overwhelming stuff to look at that I didn't really notice that. The only times where I ever noticed any issues was when an animatronic was down, which was just the mummy.
I know, he's just like laying there too. He doesn't have like a good
like...
mode. The first time me and my friend wrote it, one of the people were like, hey, just make sure you watch out for the mummy. And when he's working, he's gigantic and he's reaching out for you, and we're like, watch out for... What do you mean, like, there he is?
What are we supposed to do? We're strapped into a crane. How am I gonna watch out?
And like, we're not gonna miss it.
Yeah.
Like, making sure you keep an eye out for it, I think was how he phrased it. And we were like, you can't miss that thing. What did you rate this?
I also gave it a 3. I think
we're on par.
I know, same wavelength today. I think Darkmoor as a whole is really interesting. It was a lot smaller than I was expecting it to be. And I think they have plans of expanding all the lands in the future and like some new lands as well. But I would really love to see Darkmoor get bigger. Get a show in there, just something that expands the storytelling of this place. The mansion is really cool. You know, it's not anything new though for this gothic horror. It fits right in with the genre, but I mean, adding all the electrical elements and this like steampunk vibe was a cool take on it, but it wasn't reinventing the wheel or anything by any means. So yeah, it feels like a good start, honestly, but I just want to see how this land grows over the next however long.
Yeah, I know there's a rumored Creature of the Black Lagoon ride that people keep talking about, because I think that was another canceled thing that they'd done, and so people were like, maybe they'll bring it back. And this is all
do like a log flume ride or something, like a pirates kind of thing.
Yeah, all speculation. I think that'd be cool. I think they need more indoor rides at Epic. A lot of things go down when it rains, which I tell you, living in Florida, it was raining all today. It was horrible driving my dog to obedience class today.
Hey, well, it's been snowing here, so.
Oh, man, that's what I was like. It could be snow, I guess, but
I love the snow though, so.
A lot of rides just go down, for when it rains, and they need something that's like more of a people eater, because I know like for the other parks you have Ministry, which could be at a 3-hour wait. You have Donkey Kong, which is always an insane wait. You have Mario Kart again, so like they just need more rides to spread out the capacity. We should do Nintendo Land one time, but anyway.
I mean, it's a good crossover of story and games, so I think it's a good land for us to take on for sure.
But they don't have as much lore around.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
I mean, unless we get into the actual lore of Mario, which is not the point.
That's true. Oh, there is a Bowser Jr. storyline, but anyways. That's
a different episode.
It's a different episode. Genre.
5
out of 5.
Yeah.
Let me write that down. Yeah, I don't have notes for this. I love the monster movies. I love horror. I feel like they really leaned into all of that with this. I love the dramatic influences. It really captures the universal classic monster horror films. You really feel like you stepped into that world. Again, I feel like with genre too, like the way the characters interact, it really fulfills that, and it's genuinely a little scary. If I was a kid, I would not like Darkmoor that much. I remember standing in line with a family, and there was a boy there, and he kept talking about like how he was nervous about the ride, and how he was like getting more and more nervous. And as a person who also suffers from ride anxiety, I wanted to like turn to him and be like, it'll be okay. But I knew this would be a growing moment for him, because I knew that he would be okay. So like I never, and like Igor's pre-show, does such a good job of like setting up that too, like that little bit of a scare factor, because when he like loses control of the arm and it goes everywhere, the first time you're with someone who hasn't been on that ride, they look horrified.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to convince my mom. I was like, it's not going to be like that, because she gets super motion sick. She will only do certain levels of rides, but like, I was like, it's not going to be like that. That's just the psych out.
Yeah. That's what, yeah, my sister, she's the same way. She doesn't, but she's like me to like a more extreme thing where she doesn't like anything real ride. And when she saw that, I also had to like turn her and be like, it's not gonna be like that. I promise. I know enough about this ride to know that will not happen.
Yeah.
But like, she's not like a person that likes rides, but she loved this ride. She was like, I need to ride this like 15 more times, and I've never heard my sister say that about any theme park ride. But anyways, yeah, genre 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah. Oh,
Rami!
Hi. Well, I also gave it a 5 out of 5 for genre, because it's like this Venn diagram of, like you said, horror, but also adding this extra fun layer with the steampunk kind of industrialized version of gothic horror, but taking it forward. And then also classic Hollywood monster movies. That's been so intrinsic to Universal Studios for a long time, with like the first few times I went, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, and seeing like the monster makeup effects show, like it was always a discussion about what more they were going to do with the monsters and how they always wanted to do that stuff, and to just see that we're finally here and how successful and passionate, I guess we're going to get to the passion category next, but like you can just tell how much love was put into Darkmoor. And so I think, yeah, that Venn diagram of all these things that they're accomplishing genre-wise with that land is really impressive.
That's what, it was such a, I hate to say like executives and companies are brave, but it was really it was really cool of Universal to let them go for this, because again, like we talked about in history, like the Dark Universe reboot, like it bombed.
Yeah.
Like there was, and they still went with land called the Dark Universe after this like unsuccessful reboot for the franchise. And they, as you said, like I think what makes this land special, and especially like and within the context of this theme park, is they really had to build a lot of lore from the ground up. Like they took these movies and they really had to fit them, like what makes sense in this world, what makes sense in the backdrop of like How to Train Your Dragon, the Wizarding World, like Nintendo Land, because I think Nintendo Land and Dark Universe are right next to each other, and like they did a really incredible job with that.
Yeah, it feels very immersive because it's all new. It's like there's so much for you to interact with and explore and discover while you're there, where Burke and Nintendo, Mushroom Kingdom, whatever, are a lot more familiar to us. So it's just really exciting to go to this brand new place, which you don't really get at theme parks like that.
And it's kind of nice because it's, as again, I was a kid, I would probably be scared of this. I wouldn't want to spend a lot of time here. So for adults, like it's mostly adults hanging out there, and it's like a little bit more chiller side of the park compared to like when you're in Nintendo World and there's just kids screaming.
Well,
like,
in general, I kind of think Epic Universe is not super kid friendly. There aren't a ton of rides that are great for small kids, so Nintendo is constantly packed with all the kids because that's for them.
So Passion, I get this a 4 out of 5. I can feel a lot of heart and passion, especially when I get to this ride and this land. As we said before, kind of in genre, we feel like it. Sorry, yeah. As we said before, in this genre, it can be. It's good that Universal pushed this. It's a little bit scary. Their walk-around characters can be assholes at times and say mean stuff to you. It's so funny though. Please look up videos of them doing that. I will say the reason I took like a point off is it still feels like a giant theme park company at points. It can feel a little sanitized at times. like in the pre-show ride, there is the cupola arm in the ride vehicle, and there's only 3 dolls. I think it's 4-person seat, right? There's only 3 dolls on the ride, and before they actually had a 4th doll on the ground laying there, like it had fallen out of the ride and died. They took that out pretty fast.
Freaking people out too much.
Complain.
Too macabre.
Yeah. So they do. So Universal does hold the line. I think you can kind of feel them stepping in at times. I feel like maybe the Wolfman coaster was a product of that, because it's a little bit like a family-friendly coaster, and they're like, we need something in here that's not gonna give kids nightmares for weeks.
Yeah.
But
that's not going to
yes.
alienate too much of our audience.
Yeah. Yeah, but they do push it a lot. Yeah, characters, the creepy set designs, the staked vampires in Das Steakhouse come to mind too. That's pretty like wild when you're eating and there's just like a vampire corpse on the wall.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's so great. I love eating at Das Steakhouse. It's like not my favorite food in the park, but it's my favorite atmosphere in the park.
Well, and it's nice and cool in there, and it's big, so there's a lot of space, and yeah, you're not like rubbing elbows with a screaming child, which is really nice.
And they have the chairs are like the vampire bats.
Yes, yeah, the little
Just all around
details.
cool.
It's really nice.
But yeah, it's still a theme park. You're still getting sold stuff everywhere, so that's why I just took a point off.
Yeah.
What did you rate it?
Well, this is our first differentiation. Now, also, sorry if you can hear Ramona digging like a crazy
little bit,
dog.
not bad. Well, Oliver came back, so
Yeah, there's a blanket that she's really going into right now. Sorry, continue. I gave this one a 5, and mostly, or largely, because of the character actors. Igor, the Invisible Man, Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, like, the cast brings so much life to this park, and you can tell how excited they are to be there, how much they love and understand their characters, and how much work they're putting into it. Because those jobs are not easy. You're out there in the hot sun, in hot makeup and hot costumes, dealing with grumpy people, or crazy people, or people who want to touch you and they're not supposed to. So yeah, I gave it a 5 because I was really impressed with, I guess, as you mentioned before, those RPG elements, which I didn't. Sorry, Oliver's being so cute right now.
I know. He's like, I'm an RPG element.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I gave it a 5. That's pretty much it.
No, I feel like I was too mean to it.
No. I think that's a fair score.
If I rate below you, I'm like, I've been too mean.
Because I'm the hard ass, not you.
It's true. You're the bad cop, and I'm the good cop.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Next category is rewatchability, which in our case would be rewritability. I don't know.
Yes.
I didn't discuss this with you, but I was like, she'll know.
I know what you meant. Rewritability, revisitability, yeah.
Exactly. 5 out of 5. It's so funny. I only have like a few notes for this because I'm like, I've already written this so many times.
Yeah.
When I was,
you would write it all day if you could.
I could write it all day. I always notice a new detail. The next thing I want to do is like, there's Halloween Horror Nights references in there. I want to go find those. As I was researching this video and like watching the ride, I was being tortured. I was like, I want to go on this so bad. I hate just sitting here watching it. I want to be on it.
Yeah.
So that's why it was like an automatic 5 for me.
Yeah. I figured you would be giving it a 5 because when we were there, you were like, do you want to ride Monsters Unchained 7 times in a row? And I was like, I mean, I would, but, you know, I've got, like, my family with me and that kind of stuff. But, I mean, we did ride it multiple times.
We did, yeah.
I also gave it a 5, and I think a big reason, I was going to give it a 4, because, you know, after a certain point, like, okay, I've ridden the ride, you know, but I think the reason I bumped it up to a 5 is because of how efficient the loading system is, and you don't have to wait in line for 3 hours like you do for Ministry or for Rise of the Resistance or any of these other modern, like, next level park experiences. This one is just head and shoulders above everything else we're getting right now, because the ride is just as impressive, but they've got the system down and you're tortured waiting to get on it.
Yep. Yeah, and they really improved it to, theme park nerd time, put on my hat. But, like, because Forbidden Journey it kind of threw you around a little bit, and
yes.
With the screens, it was motion sick if ever got out of sync, and the screens have started to age a little bit badly with, like, the effects, and with this, how they blended in the practical and the screen effects is amazing, and, like, it's so smooth compared to Forbidden Journey. I don't feel like I'm nearly yanked around as much, and, like, I know you get motion sick, and, like, my sister does too, and she didn't have any problem on this ride, so that was really impressive to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm getting more sensitive as I'm getting older. I can't ride roller coasters like I used to be able to just, like, 5 years ago. But I rode Monsters a few times with you, and then after that, my family went to Islands of Adventure, and we rode Forbidden Journey again, which I hadn't ridden for years. And I remember liking that ride, but I came off it and I was so sick. I was like, I have to sit down. And especially after I had just riding Monsters, I was kind of, like, shocked at how much that ride system has improved, because I was like, I don't remember Forbidden Journey being this nauseating. I mean, the screens are always, I always just have to close my eyes when there's a screen.
Yeah.
But even just the crane, like, moving around in that environment, I was like, I'm gonna go sit down for a minute, okay?
Yeah, I think I like Monsters because it doesn't just sit you in front of a screen, like, and try to mimic. Like, you're always kind of just, like, gliding along, and the screens are just, like, it's almost just a backdrop.
Yeah.
And there's a few moments that are, like, purely screen, but, like, so it's so, yeah, the animatronics in that are just crazy real, and, like, I feel like they can always update the background. Like, it's gonna be really hard with, like, Forbidden Journey, because those actors are not acting in that franchise now. Like, they look way older, unless they want to do, like, an AI deepfake, which always just looks kind of odd. Like, they can't really update that video.
Do you think they'll update all of that stuff with the new HBO?
I was wondering that. I was actually wondering that. I could see that, like, a refurbishment with the HBO elements, but there is a lot of, like, they would have to keep the spider the same and the Dementor design. Like, I feel like the creature design they would have to keep, or else it'd be really expensive.
Because they'd
to,
have
like,
to change the
that.
animatronics too, not just in the video animation. That's
I
interesting.
think the Dementors, like, in the book had, like, the hood, and in the movie they had, like, the whole thing,
It's
which
like
I wasn't
veil.
super crazy about. Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, that'll be... I'm not going to watch the HBO Harry Potter thing, but
I'm
it'll
not.
be interesting to see pictures of how they reconceptualize and redesign these iconic monsters to Harry Potter, like the Dementors. But I'm not going to watch it.
It'd be kind of funny to get into that theme park, just because I think that ride is so weird with that setting, but we're not here for that.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on to plot.
on.
I gave plot a 4 out of 5. I like the plot. I like the amount of love that went to ride. I feel like this is all stuff we've covered before. It's just kind of summing up, which I guess is the plot. I like how they captured the quintessential feeling of a monster movie. You feel like you're in danger. Victoria pulls you into witnessing this experiment. She does a good job at capturing the mad scientist persona that we always see in these monster movies. She does a good job. And, like, I love that there's always a tragic side to these monster movies. Like, Universal did this really well, because I know, like, a lot of times, these monsters are allegories for things. So, like, to go to werewolf movies became popular, like, after World War II, when PTSD was coming around, and people didn't understand it. They didn't understand, like, why their loved ones were suddenly angry and would lash out at them, or, like, act weird. So, like, werewolves become kind of an allegory for that, and, that's why those movies became so popular. And so there's always, like, this kind of sorrow and humanism in these monsters. We see the bad sides of ourselves in these monsters, and I really like that capture it in this, and like there's little hints of it, right? Like Victoria is almost a villain in this for capturing and locking these people away. And I think Dracula says the line that's like, who's the monster? Is the one in chains or the one who put them there? And when you're walking through the queue, you see it, like, who's the true monster, like, flashing. So, like, puts you in that mindset of, like, oh, yeah, maybe Victoria, like, isn't that great, which is great, amazing, I love that, because Frankenstein is also, like, he captures this spirit, because he's, like, an innocent. He's an innocent that was just caught in this. He kills the little girl, he doesn't mean to, he was just trying to, like, he's trying to learn how to be human for the first time, and Henry doesn't want to deal with him. He's horrified by him. He made this creation in defiance of God, and he's like, what the hell did I do? So, like, he's even worse for, like, abandoning the monster. Like, you wouldn't abandon your kid, sort of thing. And, so this is, like, the first time Frankenstein's, exploring the world. So he's, like, this little bit of innocence, and it's, like, this tragic thing that he ends up getting burned to death in the mill, and, like, his real anger was at Henry the entire time. And, yeah, anyways, I went off on a tangent there. But, like, I love that they had that, and it, I docked at a point, and I don't super remember why I did. I think
you
it was
docked
for the
at 2 points,
consistency.
because you gave it a 3, didn't you? Or did
No,
you give it 4? Oh.
4.
I
think it was
a
just
3.
the
I'm getting
inconsistencies
confused
that I
with
pointed out before we started the plot, and a lot of the backstory relies on, yes, I remember now, a lot of the backstory relies on you knowing, and taking in those, like, kind of passive elements that aren't in your face. So, like, I think I'd be interested to write this with someone who has no knowledge of the Monsterverse, but, like, we do, or, like, anyone else does. Like, would they understand what's happening, or, like, why they're... Yeah, I don't know. I would be interested, because I feel like you can get the gist of it.
Yeah.
But the timelines are confusing, because you're probably going to be familiar with, like, Frankenstein. You're like, why is she here and Frankenstein's there? What's the deal with the monster? And why does he look exactly the same, sort of thing? But, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Like, what would it be like writing this with somebody who has no knowledge of the monster universe? I think you're going to be hard-pressed to find somebody like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so we'd have to find, like, an alien or something, because these because these characters are so ingrained in pop culture. I think this is partially, you know, why my character rating was so high, is also why my plot setting is so low, is because this relies on your familiarity with the monsters to get you through. When the plot ultimately comes down to, I'm trying to capture all the monsters, they've escaped, help me get them back. I mean, that's 9 out of 10 theme park rides. You know, it's the Jurassic World ride is like, oh no, the dinosaurs are out, what are we gonna do? You know, so it's a very, very typical, like, formulaic theme park ride narrative. It's not doing anything interesting in the actual ride itself, but the greater context with who is the real monster and the intricacies of this rivalry between Victoria and Dracula, and then we have the hounds, like you said. Like, I wish there was more of that integrated into the ride.
What did you give it?
A 3. Sorry, I guess I didn't say that. Yeah.
That was my guess, but...
Yeah, it's like a totally passable plot.
Yeah.
Like, it's serviceable. Like, it does what it needs to do. It gets you without, like, bogging down your guests in all of this exposition. It's just, like, it's very simple and graspable to, like, I'm being chased by a bunch of monsters. That's the kind of thrill you want on that ride. So I think it does what it needs to do.
I like the dialogue. I think the dialogue's pretty funny at some parts. Like, I know Igor's really funny, and then I think, like, Victoria even has, like, a moment where, like, Dracula and Frankenstein are, like, fighting, and she's like, these two just don't get along. It's, like, really kind of, like... I really like that they allowed that. Yeah, and I wish we could hear more of it, because it is so, like, when you're in the ride, it's, like, a lot of yelling and growling and snarling. Yes. So, like, when you hear the line from, like, Dracula, like, it's really muffled. You have to really listen for it.
I
But,
need like a closed captioning device for the ride. I need
Yeah.
it to like come down and just give me like my subtitles there, because I watch everything with subtitles, and yeah, when that you're overwhelmed and it's loud and there's like Tesla
Yeah.
coils going off, it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
get what they're saying.
I also love the Hans Zimmerman does the
Oh
soundtrack.
yeah, Hans Zimmer
We
does the
mentioned that.
soundtrack. You mentioned that when we were waiting in line.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but he does it for the whole Darkmoor thing,
Yes.
right? Not just the ride.
Yeah, he like did the whole soundtrack for it. Cause like, which is hard because when you're following something like Burke or Mario, which has these like really iconic pieces, yeah, it's to stand out in this like epic universe. You have to have that music.
I mean,
So good.
he's certainly one to do it. He is very good at making iconic soundtracks that everybody recognizes. So
We're gonna tally up our scores. We need a name for this segment, which is like writers try to do math or something.
I'm a
Writers
writer, not a
versus-
mather.
Writers versus calculators. It's 5. I like that I'm saying this out loud. 25. Okay. 25. And yours was how much together?
26.
That is 25.5. Which is legendary. It's legendary.
Nice. That sounds
That's the
about
second
right.
one in a row.
Yeah.
With this and
I mean,
Dispatch.
that's why we've got to pick something bad next.
That's
and,
true. We gotta test this.
I mean, I think you can learn. Oftentimes, you can learn a lot more from something that's bad, from bad writing, than you can from good writing. So,
That is true. Any final thoughts about this ride?
um,
I didn't really have any, but I love it. Please go and ride this ride if
Yeah.
you haven't.
go ride it. Go support the ride. Go support theme parks doing new and original stuff. I mean, you know, it's kind of on the kind of original based on some other things, but yeah, it's really exciting, and I would love to see the RPG elements come in with, you know, really disappointed about what happened with Evermore. So I would love to see a big, wealthy, giant company like Universal playtest and figure all that stuff out so that smaller teams can implement that in their own ways for little experiences like Evermore.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I feel like Disney tried to do it with Star Cruiser, again Star Wars, but the hotel,
Oh, yeah.
and it failed very spectacularly. Maybe we should look into that one too, 'cause
Another-
that would be really fun.
That's
Yeah.
another Jenny Nicholson video that you should watch.
And I feel like Universal really learned from that mistake,
Yeah.
and so they kind of pulled back on some of those elements. So it's really cool. I want to see the expansion. I want to see what ride they add to this world. I know eventually it's going to come. I think they're going to do Wizarding World first, which is I want a more epic, a more dark universe in my life.
But Harry Potter makes some of the big bucks.
I know. But yeah. I guess that wraps it up for this episode. Like, subscribe, comment. We would love to hear your thoughts if you love the story or you hate it. If you went on this ride and you're like, this is garbage, you guys should have covered Ministry. And let us know if you enjoyed this episode. Let us know if you have any suggestions for future episodes. And thanks. We will see you again soon.
Bye.